views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present the Dying to Know podcast, brought to you all the way from the United Kingdom with Lee from Spirit Vision Paranormal Research.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the fourth episode of the Dying to Know podcast. I'm here today, Sarah, joined with Lee. Yep. Normally it's Lee on his own, but I'm here today. And we have got two special guests all the way from the USA, Francis and Doug from Beyond the Veil Investigations. So welcome, guys.
Thank you. We're so excited to talk to you guys.
Thanks for having us.
I know, yeah.
We haven't really had much of time to stop and chat, have we, since we started this journey virtually together. And then you guys went paraflix way, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And because you're on paraflix, because we don't have paraflix, we haven't had a chance to keep up with what you're doing. However, we still see what you're putting on Instagram. We still see the places you go, and we still send messages to each other and we speak to each other.
I think we spoke to each other, like I say, like you
quite
said,
a bit, yeah.
From virtually day one of both of us teams not going live on Twitter normally.
Yeah, we started on Twitter in 2018. We've known you guys since day one, I think.
I don't know, that's crazy, right? Crazy. We've been through a pandemic and everything together.
Yeah.
So, like Lee said, you're now on Paraflix, but let's rewind it back a little bit and tell the viewers, the guys that are listening, a little bit about yourselves, why you got into paranormal.
Well, we originally started going and investigating because of the experiences we had in our own home. I had experiences my whole life. You know, I didn't really pay too much attention to it. It was something I was kind of scared of when I was younger. But about 10 years ago, we moved up here to Ohio. We originally are from Arizona. We moved to Ohio. And within 2 months of moving into this home, we had a newborn daughter. She was 2 weeks old when we moved up here. And about 2 months into this house, we just started having activity kick up in this house. And it started with, there was a crawl space in the master bedroom. It was sealed. We tried to pry it open, couldn't get open. We're like, oh, they must have sealed it. Didn't think anything about it. A few weeks later, I went upstairs and the door was wide open. And I had a standing jewelry box in front of it and it had been pushed forward and the door was open. I just ran downstairs. I'm like, oh my God, you know. And he went up there. We're all looking at him. I'm like, this is weird, you know. I'm like, just hammer it shut, put nails in it. We're not going to think about it. Literally within days, we started seeing shadows. We started hearing voices calling out. There was voices mimicking. We have an older son. And one day we were upstairs and I heard someone say, Mom. I'm like, what? You know, he's all, Mom, come here. And I walked to the top of the stairs and I'm like, Clayton, what? You know? And I realized he's at school. He's not even home. And I was like, oh my God, Clayton's not here. And we're just like, so we go downstairs, you know, we're looking around. And it just started with at night, setting off all our smoke detectors, setting off the carbon monoxide over and over. And then it would just started messing with the lights. It might start messing with the baby's toys. We had to remove batteries from everything in our house.
All electrics.
Wow. Yeah, all electrics, yeah.
And it just intensified from there. It got really, really bad in that house. And so
that's not the house that you're in now. This was a previous house.
Right. Yeah. And activity continued in this house when we moved in here, but it wasn't like bad. And so we actually did a couple recordings in this house and caught some voices. And the very first voice we captured is all stop recording. Yeah. And so we're like, okay, you know. And
have you still got that audio?
I know it's on one of our recorders. We have to find it, but yeah, it was pretty scary.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That was pretty cool. If you can find that.
Sarah won't let us do that here. She's totally flat out. Like I'll say, should we just try this or try this, and like flat out, no, not happening. Not in my house, not where we are, not where the kids are. But if stuff is happening around you, you can't just turn a blind eye to it.
I think I'd rather be oblivious to it. I mean, I've seen some pretty sketchy stuff in here. Like I've seen a whole full-bodied apparition of a man, and that's my own experience. I can never prove that happened, but I can to this day tell you the details of everything on him. However, it still doesn't make me want to investigate in here. Jessica, our daughter, and she came to an asylum with us. I don't know if you saw that one. Came to an asylum with us, and the first time she'd done it on camera with us, really, wasn't it? I mean, she's been, obviously we do bits with family.
The first time we've ever had activity like that, ever.
Yeah,
in 3 years. All the places I've been, to be honest, in the last 3 years, I've been on the fence. I'm still on the fence. I'm still not saying ghosts exist, because I've never seen one. But what happened that night is absolutely still hurts my head today.
It hurts our heads even now. We all go for a dog walk. In fact, Jess was telling us today in the car, wasn't she? She's like, still blows my mind what happened. So a rock got thrown. Listen, when you're in a dark room and it's quiet and you can see everybody on camera and there's a big bang, then it does, as from a human being's perspective, it just scared the shit out of you, doesn't it? But even though we all stood there, we must have stood there in real time for about 20 minutes, just standing still, because we go to abandoned buildings, is the ones that we investigate predominantly anyway. So we were convinced it was kids coming in or security or other urban explorers. So we weren't that particularly bothered. We were more quiet, obviously because it scared us initially, but more to see who was coming in. And it wasn't until we got home and you actually hear on the recording, we put it on the TV, you hear the bang and then you hear the stone bounce off the boards and hit the concrete floor.
Yep.
Insanity.
And that blows our mind. So to think that you guys live with stuff like that in your home.
But then leading on to what you're saying, she's now saying, coming downstairs saying, oh my God, right, I had this dream last night, that when we walked from that asylum, when we left, something watched us walk through the woods, and I'm going, what do you mean something? And I'm thinking, she's 17, it's just an overactive imagination. It's got to be 3 nights later, another dream. Oh, when we were there was a young woman come out and she was asking for help, Dad. I seen her in my dream, she was asking, and I'm thinking, right, all right, it's really scared her, it's got to be a man. Then somebody reached out and went, do you not think maybe she's having these dreams for a reason? And it could actually be
because she's sensitive, which we never. So we are looking into that. But yeah, so I couldn't imagine living with that. Just going back to that crawl space, had you actually been in there since you moved in? Has anybody actually been in there, or had it opened on its own?
Well, when we moved in, it was like sealed, like they had glued it or something. So then we couldn't even open it. And so we don't know. All we know is everything turned upside down. Like it got so bad where we had our newborn daughter. It's a very difficult thing for me to talk about, but like our newborn daughter, because I used to nurse her, she was 2 months old, and she would sleep next to me. Well, I woke up the first time it happened, I woke up and she was laying, you know, when you kind of hang off the bed with your feet down at the edge of the bed. Well, I found her hanging like that, and she was only 2 months old. And I was like, that's weird. So I pulled her up. I found her the next night there again. And it happened like a few times. And I told him, I was like, how is she getting down there? She can't roll yet. She can't do anything. Well, I woke up one night and she's gone. And I just remember flying out of the bed, hysterical, like, where is she? And he flies out of bed. He didn't know what was wrong. We actually found her at that crawl space, laying on the floor. And I remember I was just terrified. I was so scared. And I was just freaking out. And I remember I didn't sleep for weeks. I had her next to me.
I can imagine.
It was like really weird. It was when she began walking in that house, she started walking about 1.5 years, and she saw something. All I know is we were in the room, and I went to walk towards my closet, and she grabbed my leg and started screaming and pointing, going, scared, scared. And she was trying to pull me away. And I'm like, I'm looking over there. I'm like, there's nothing there, you know? And he held her, and I walked over there, and I'm like, look. And she was freaking out that I was over there.
Wow.
I always tell him I'll never in my life know what she saw, but it like terrified her. And living in this house, we're learning she's very sensitive, because she too, about 2 years ago, saw something in the house. Her brother's about 13 years older than her, and he was babysitting her one night. We're at a concert, and he just sends me a text message. He's like, we were laying here on the couch watching a movie, and something just ran up the stairs. He's like, the dog took off after it. He's like, Mom, I am freaking out. I'm like, he's like, because she's scared. I was like, you got to go upstairs and show her there's nothing up there, because otherwise she's going to be scared. He's like, I don't want to go up there. I'm like, you have to. And he told me he went up there and showed her there's nothing there. Well, a couple weeks later, she comes to me and she's like, Mommy, why did brother lie to me? I'm like, lie to you about what? She's like, I saw her. I'm like, I still didn't know what she was talking about. I'm like, Sahu. And she's like, the woman, I saw her running up the stairs, and she described this woman head to toe.
Wow.
And she got very emotional. She's like, but she looked real, Mom. She's like, she didn't look see-through, because that's how she thought of a ghost, was see-through. She's like, she looked real. She had skin like us. And she was just really hysterical about the whole thing. And my older son won't even talk about it. When my daughter tries to bring it up to him, he don't want to talk about it. It just
doesn't want to talk about it at all.
He's 23 and he won't talk about it.
It's funny because when Jessica was probably about 1.5, Lee's granddad died before I was pregnant with Jessica. And everybody in the family would always say to me, like, oh my God, Granddad, would really, really have loved to see a little girl, and this, like, it was a big thing, wasn't it? And so when Jessica was about 1.5, we're sitting in his nan's kitchen, and from her kitchen, where we used to sit, I can see straight through to the back door. And I used to come home and say to Lee, the keys swing every time I was sitting there, because of how his nan had a house set up. Didn't matter where I was in that kitchen, I was seeing that back door.
You can see the back door.
Yeah.
It has a pane of glass in it, so you can see out.
Yeah.
You can't. It's frosted glass, but you can see
out.
Clearly outside.
And she's got a blocked off garden. Like, you can't get into a garden with a high fence.
It's a gate and then a high fence, so you're not getting past.
Right.
I kept saying to him, shadows are walking past this window. No, you're bloody seeing things. I'm telling you, these keys are swinging. No, I'm bloody telling you. He says, there's nothing there, nothing there. Don't you dare say anything to my nan. So I was like, Jessica, when she was growing up, she would call, every man would be a me man. I don't know why, but that's the word she used, me man. And we're sitting there one day. I mean, she's only a little dot of a thing, and she points up into the sky by this back door. She's like, look, Mummy, me man, Mummy, me man. I'm like, shut up. I'm thinking, oh dear God, his nan's going to have a freak out in a minute, because obviously she's saying it. But right back then, I think, now looking back, maybe what she was seeing. And it's interesting because at the time I worked for a sandwich company, and one of the security guards on the building was, he claimed he was a medium. And back then we weren't involved in the paranormal, we just used to watch Ghost Haunted, didn't we, when they first come on. And I walked in one day and he said to me, you've lost a granddad, haven't you? And I said, no, I haven't. Both my granddads were dead long ago. I said, no, not recently. Yeah, recently. I said, no, but my husband has. That's it, that's the one. You see stuff, don't you? And I was like, no, yeah, you see stuff by a back door, don't you? And I was like, no, don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, and then obviously that thing happened with Jess, so I'm just wondering now whether she was sensitive all those years ago.
I don't know.
It's hard for you to, because your mind works as a skeptical
mind. Yeah, I think you can explain 90% of everything that we see here. And
we used to live by this busy main road, and it was one of the mediums at the building that said to me something about a main road and something about people getting killed. And I'd never put two and two together. And Jessica's bedroom was right on the corner of this junction. Yeah. And I've put her to bed one day, and she was probably only a few months old, and I've put her to bed in a cot for a nap. Lee's at work, so there's only me in the house, and I've gone back upstairs, and I'm not joking you, every single cupboard in her bedroom was pulled out, and the clothes were just everywhere.
That's freaky.
And I completely forgot about that, didn't I, until the other day, I was telling you. And I'm wondering if that house was a little bit haunted that we lived in. So this house you had was massively haunted. You hadn't been into the crawl space. You obviously had these issues with your daughter being moved, which would, as a mother, that would absolutely scare the absolute bejeebers out of me.
It's to this day, it's like I watch her very closely to this day. Yeah. It's just, that's something that I'll never ever get over, ever. I didn't sleep in that house for a long time. It really messed me up. Really.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that.
If I see something like that or experience something like when A, B, C, D, E over a period of time, I would absolutely buy it 100%. Yes, I'm in, all in. But for me, it's just been bits and bobs, so I'm just struggling at the minute.
I think from a paranormal investigator's point of view, that's bloody amazing. You could document that all day long, but from a parent and a mother's point of view...
Yeah, I get that as well.
Jesus, I can't even imagine. Yeah. Like, honest to God, I can't
as much
even
as I say I want to see, I don't want to see here.
See, I think that's where the line is with me, is, okay, the tapping happens on the window, the doorbell goes off, I've seen stuff, Jess seen stuff, but at the minute, and hopefully forever, we're kind of coexisting in two separate worlds.
This is your safety. When you come home from what we do, and we go out and we go to all these places that have all this energy and all these supposed spirits, and then we come back home, which is where we want to feel safe, and we should feel safe.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a bit on the fence about doing it at home, but I get what you're saying.
Did you just leave that house, or did you have anything done there to help?
Well, when originally I went to the landlord, because we were just renting the house, because we were in Arizona. We had a friend who lived up here find the house for us to rent, because it was, we were moving up here.
Yeah.
Our friends found it. We knew nothing about the house. And then about a year and a half in, we happened to be outside doing yard work, and he was talking to our neighbor, and he told us the house had been abandoned before we moved in for many years. So we had no idea. And I actually went to the landlord, because it was before I knew we were the first people that moved in there. I was like, have you had any other tenants complain about this house? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, because there's some weird stuff. I was like, this was before what happened to our daughter. I was like, we're hearing like voices in here. There's like women calling out. We're hearing, and he's like, it's an old house, old houses make noises. I'm like, that is not what's happening.
All those sort of noises.
We're seeing black shadows move across the floor. And he just kind of dismissed it. But when he talked to the neighbor, that's when I knew. He said the house had been abandoned for many years.
How would you protect
because
your family against that? Because you're going to struggle, aren't you?
And ask you a very personal question. You really don't have to answer this. Are you religious at all?
No, we're not.
Not at all.
No, we're not religious.
And I'll tell you now you've said that, I will tell you the reason I've asked that is because I have kind of been looking into all these different things and hauntings, and a lot of people are religious, aren't they?
A lot of the people that have,
I wonder if it's entwined.
Possessions and that have these really bad negative experiences, whether it's demonic or wherever.
I just wondered if it was
a lot of them are highly religious, massively religious to start with.
But if you're not, that's certainly interesting.
That's what we thought was weird. And why we left is because I actually started getting sick in the bedroom. I started waking up and not breathing. And I kept, it's so weird. It's like I'm waking up and I can't get any air. And then one night I woke up and I just was gasping, like I had stopped breathing. And I looked at him, I was like, we can't stay here anymore. I was like, I'm telling you, I have a bad feeling in this house. And I was like, I think it's because it was me and my daughter it targeted the most. And I was like, something just does not like me or doesn't want me here. And I was like, we have to. So just about 3 months before our lease was up, we went and found a second house and rented both of them until the lease was up. Because I just had something inside me said,
and you do get that feeling when you go into places. I understand that feeling.
But you wake up and you can't breathe, that's it.
I've not had that, but I get that feeling that when something's not right, it's not right.
Did you find that it was progressively getting worse?
Oh yeah, we weren't sleeping. Like I said, I had to remove batteries from everything. They were taking my daughter's toys. Like one night I heard this crazy male voice coming. I thought it was my son. So I'm creeping down the stairs and I just hear this creepy talking, and I go into her room and one of the toys had this voice I just ran over and ripped the batteries out.
Oh my God.
Stairs and it was like one of those places where we didn't go to the bathroom at night because you went down those stairs, you could feel it watching you come back up. I am not going downstairs at night anymore. I'm staying up here. It was horrible. It was a horrible.
And do you feel like you're at the point now certainly probably at the beginning of your journey of becoming investigators that you need answers? You need to know why?
Of course I do. I told him that over the last, especially since Paraflix, I've been really trying to think over my whole life of where it started for me and just trying to figure out why it seems to kind of be around me and my daughter, no matter where we are,
Were you into the paranormal before? Well, I'm saying before you got into investigators, but obviously I grew up in a haunted pub, so I've always kind of had a little bit of one foot in one.
I just want to know if it's. I just want to know if it's.
Yeah, but we watched most haunted and all sorts of stuff.
I watched everything going until I realised it's bullshit.
Were you kind of the same?
Sorry.
Yeah, the opinion of TV.
It's gone. It's banned from here now.
Yeah,
we'll watch any TV documentaries. We'll watch TV show, ghost hunting shows. Done. Yeah. Absolutely done.
Yeah, I think we realised pretty quickly, and you guys probably know as well, is that once you're out there in the field, you realise that you don't just walk in and the ghost, woohoo, we're here, and this goes off and that goes off. You pack your stuff up and you go home.
I've had so many hours of my life wasted, and these idiots live literally 5 minutes away from where we live. Most haunted literally live around the corner. Gutted because I spent most of the beginning of my like, oh my god, this looks so cool, and like, wouldn't it be cool to do it? And like, you buy into it, and then when you get to know people at Film Forum and work with them, and then you go out yourself, and you know how stuff gets set up and what can set it off and what. And you think, oh my God, these have been blacking us for years.
I know.
Absolutely conning us for years.
That's completely different.
Gutted, absolutely.
So yeah, so you kind of a little bit like that as well. You kind of always had an interest within the paranormal.
Yeah, especially because I had a lot of experiences when I was in Arizona. I had things I saw growing up, and and my first, when it really kicked up for me, it seemed after my dad died like 22 years ago, and I remember one of my really noticeable experiences was being in my room, and I'm just cleaning my room, and I had made my bed and all that, and I came back in and my bed was unmade again. I was like, that's weird, I swear. And clear as day, I just hear Francis right in my ear. I'm like, I go out of my room, and I'm sitting there, I was like, that's my dad. I heard his voice clear. And it was things like that. Our two older kids both had experiences when they're little. My oldest daughter, one time woke up with someone standing at the edge of her bed, and this was after my dad had died. So I was like, that was probably Grandpa, and our oldest son being in the grocery store one time, he's like, I don't like that lady. I'm like, what lady? He's like, the lady sitting on the bench. And she's like, he describes an older woman with really bright red lipstick, and she looked at him and smiled, and it scared the crap out of him. So I've been trying to just really, like I said, go through my life and figure out and look back at what happened, that it seems to be, around me and my kids. And
yeah.
Do you think it's more family orientated, or do you think it's like
everything?
Just maybe you've just been unlucky to move in that house and there was something already there, or do you think it could be something that's around you?
It's like someone asked me that, they're like, do you think it's the houses you live in, or do you think it's you? And I'm like, I don't know the answer to that.
No, that's it. And I feel like when we started our journey, originally, it was like, wouldn't it be really cool if we caught something? And whereas I feel like I'm at the point now of, isn't it really cool if we catch something and now we can figure out why? And like, I want to know why. Why is this happening? Why are we catching that?
I just want to know what happens. I just want to know that.
Yeah, you want to know that. But I feel like I need to. I've always been a little bit like that, I suppose. Growing up, I don't just take anybody else's word for it. I have to know the reasons why I'm doing something So I wonder if it is that you're sensitive and you're just a bright light to everything and anything, and then
you attract it.
Coupled with that, you've moved into a house that's been abandoned for whatever reason. It's unusual for a house to be abandoned for such a long time.
Especially with landlords,
boom,
definitely.
Just two worlds colliding.
Yeah, it's coming up here in northern Ohio. We live abandoned houses all over the place.
We never heard of it from Arizona. We're like, abandoned? I'm like, you can buy abandoned houses and fix them up. We had never heard of it before, But this house, it's not negative, but there's a lot of activity in this house. We've had speakers fly off the table, stuff like that, and it's just.
I think that's it, though. If you can coexist, there's two worlds coexisting. It's not too bad. But then, if you cross that line where, like you say, your daughter's seeing stuff, she's being moved, the toys, all that you've got going on, that would be a problem.
Sorry.
That's my front door telling me that somebody's going off, which is.
Ring doorbell again.
Which I can guarantee that I can turn on to that and there will be nobody there.
Yeah.
But you might hear that a few times. I mean, it's like 11 o'clock here. So
there's no one about.
Nobody about. So yeah, when you get two worlds that collide, and it's fine if they're positive, or even if they're just messing about, So let's get to where you've been, what you've experienced, because I know you've been right to some of the places that I would give my right arm, left toe for, right elbow. I would go there tomorrow on a plane if somebody said you can come. You've been to some really cool places.
You guys have all the history over there. Your guys' locations.
Yeah, but the grass is always greener.
That's it. Whenever we speak to anybody in America, they're like, we couldn't wait to come to England. And I'm like, well, I want to go to America. So yeah, the grass is always greener, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some pretty good locations over here. Probably the most intense one we've been to was, I know you guys mentioned asylums before. We've been to a couple pretty intense asylums as well. Pennhurst State School, pretty iconic location.
Yeah.
Getty as well, another iconic location, West Virginia. We've been to some pretty cool ones. We're lucky to have a lot of these locations.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of your investigations in the.
And you're in Ohio as well nowadays, so that's got some cool places anyway. So.
Yeah.
Ohio's loaded, and then like I just in Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, all the surrounding states just have these really cool locations there. So we're lucky.
Yeah, you have got some really cool places around you. So where would you say your absolute favourite location is? Not necessarily your best for activity, but the best one you've ever been to. That's like you're drawn to that place.
Well, the one place I'm drawn to, which we're actually going to take a break from for a while, is a place called Prospect Place Mansion. And it's a place we've been to probably like 6 or 7 times. But the last few times we've been there, it's been kind of pushing us out. Like it doesn't want us there anymore. And so it's been kind of pretty negative there. So, but I was so drawn to it. I would tell him like once a month, let's go back there again. He's like, why do you keep? I'm like, I don't know. It just calls to me and it calls to me. And it was the one location I've ever had a negative experience. And after that happened, we've been back a few times and I can tell it just doesn't want us in there. And so he's finally convinced me to take a break, but it still calls me. I talked to him the other day. I'm like, I really want to go back again. He's like, you need a break from there. It's like, it calls me constantly to go back there.
Have you had activity there? Have you got anything like that you've caught, on audio or?
Oh yeah, we've captured tons of stuff there.
Loads of EVPs. I've heard some of the EVPs on Instagram that you've been posting.
Yeah, you've got some good EVPs.
That's a very, very active location. What we do when we're investigating too is we take the recorder and mount a recorder on top of the video camera. And so not only are we doing sessions, on camera, there's a recorder going on the camera itself the entire time. That's definitely a way that we are able to.
And a third one usually somewhere else in the room.
So we have digital recorders going 100% of the time, not only doing sessions. So at any point in time, we could be catching them. And that location is just so teeming with energy. It's very, very active vocally.
Yeah.
Haven't you guys done Bobby Macca's as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a crazy location.
You guys had a rock thrown. We had a rock thrown at us in the basement at Bobby Macca's.
Or something thrown. We don't know what it was.
No,
we only say rock because we hear something bounce on the concrete.
We couldn't find it. I looked and looked and couldn't find it. Couldn't find it anywhere.
Crazy, right? It is crazy to think you can get things thrown at you. When your rock was, say your rock was thrown, do you feel like it was aimed towards you? Or like see, with ours, I keep saying to these guys, the force,
it was thrown with force, bad force.
The force
nowhere near us.
Yeah, like the force that was thrown at, if it wanted to hit us, I have absolutely no doubt it could have done it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it wanted to.
Like I told him, to me it sounded like like the sound when someone smashes a light bulb on the ground.
Yeah.
I was filming him, so we film in complete darkness. We don't use any lighting.
No.
So I'm filming him, and right behind me, I just had a smash, and I just ran to him because I was like, "Oh my god!" It was almost like I think they just wanted us out. They made sure I heard it directly behind me, and I was gone. I'm like,
"You were gone. Wow.
We're out."
Yeah.
I think they just didn't want us in there. It was very active in that basement.
It's crazy, isn't it, to think that there's like thousands of paranormal investigators all around the world, and we all, over, I wouldn't say all the time, but over all our course of our times investigating, we all get something auditory, we get things thrown up, we capture stuff out the corner of our eyes. Like there's so much stuff that goes on everywhere for every paranormal investigator.
Yeah.
And so there's got to be something. See, this is another thing. There's got to be something in it. There's got to be, what it is, I don't know.
No, I don't know. You say that. You say like, well, how can you say you don't believe? Because we've had that woman come over on 3 different occasions on 2 different devices and an EVP recorder. None of us heard it twice. On the 3rd time, we all heard it. And then we had...
Oh, you're talking about mimicking. You were saying earlier about...
Mimicking.
We've
had mimicking.
We've had that with the boys.
We've had some pretty good stuff. However, it could be just like a replay of...
See, I was all in with the afterlife ghost stuff until I started investigating, and now I'm like, still think there's an afterlife, but I'm verging on there's something going on, but I haven't quite worked out what the hell it is yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I know there's something there. Like I say, there's thousands of paranormal investigators all around the world, all having the similar stuff. There's something is going on.
Of course there's something going on. There's some kind of energy that we can't...
I always say to Lee, if we're living in a different dimension, right, and me and Lee are in, say, I don't know,
the 3rd
dimension.
I'd well play with myself. Not sorry, that sounds totally wrong. But if I could see myself now,
in a dark room,
I'd go, I'll give you exactly what you want, mate, and a bit more.
I'd probably be flicking your ears. Yeah, definitely. So there's something going on in it. It's kind of crazy.
But is it the afterlife or is it something else? Could it be? I don't know. Something that's not even from this world, not even from this planet.
Right.
Is everything connected? Everything's connected?
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think the most interesting thing that I've seen from you guys, and obviously I've been following you closely because we started at the same time, but I'm sure there is other teams out there, is that we find over here that when we go to places that are well known and documented, and
like the ancient Ram and places like that, and the Leopard and
East Drive, and like when we go to those sorts of places, and there's teams coming in and out every night of the week, we don't seem to get anything.
No.
It seems to be the ones
Flat.
that are
Very
abandoned.
flat.
Yeah, like very flat. But we spend 4 nights on each location. But obviously those paid events, we
cut to one
have
because
to
it's
cut
so
to one.
they're ridiculously priced over here.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So I think it's interesting that some of the investigations that I've seen of you guys, you've gone to really well-known locations and you are getting stuff.
Yeah.
How long do you spend at each location?
Usually like 8 to 10 hours. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's we're completely alone. We go to locations and get it to ourselves. So we just, that way we know there's nobody out with us that's making any noises and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's what we do. We do that, don't we?
Yeah.
In fact, when we go to abandoned buildings, and we set
I
alarms,
take alarms, laser alarms, and pinpoint the entrance because normally the places we go in, like somebody will have gained entry into the asylum. It's not illegal over here, so I'll set alarms not only to trigger to let us know security are coming in, but anybody else. Not that you kept many explorers going in after like 10, 11 o'clock.
You see, we do nighttime.
But it's just a safety thing, isn't it?
We do nighttime because there's just too many urban explorers. Let's face it, they're quiet in the daytime, and obviously it's more controlled environment. It's quieter at night and yada yada yada. But
and you've got idiots. I'll probably get slated for this. You've got idiots that are on YouTube that are running around 2 hours with a mobile phone, holding a K2 in front of them and going, "Holy shit, it's going off!" No shit's going off.
No,
of course it's going off.
Demons.
And then they're saying it's a demon this, it's a demon that. That really gripes me. Really gripes. However, like Sarah says, don't let it get your hair off because they're not doing it for what the reasons you're doing it for. They've obviously got a different agenda. And now I calm down a little bit. Well, that used to really
pissed you off, didn't it? That used to really piss you off.
Yeah, because we all work hard
and it's a lot of money,
and try and get credible evidence. But these idiots who just jump in on
what
2 hours and go,
"I've
been possessed," or "Oh my God, what was that? It touched me." No, it didn't touch you. No, you weren't possessed.
That's it, and it is. I mean, it's an expensive hobby, isn't it? Let's face it. At the end of the day,
it is.
It is an expensive hobby. You guys were on YouTube, like obviously we're on YouTube. That's where you started, and then that's where we kind of come to an end, really, because we were discussing about us both going on to Paraflix.
We're signed, aren't we?
And we are signed
with them. They're just waiting for us to hand our stuff out. However,
you got poorly.
I got pneumonia, and Sarah's waiting for an operation. So we thought there's no point now because Sarah's probably going to have for 6 months once she's had this operation. I'm over pneumonia, so I'm ready to go. I can't wait to crack on with that and do away with YouTube and just go ahead with that.
That's kind of where we branched off in our journeys, but obviously we keep up to date with you guys, what you do on Twitter and Instagram and so forth. Has it helped going on to Paraflix from maybe an audience point of view? Is it better than the YouTube usual? Cause
at the minute, we're competing with these idiots that are going in for 2 hours with these mobile phones. And when somebody's watching that, how do they decide what's real and what's not fake and what's fake?
Right.
But do you find that your audience is a lot different a lot broader maybe than?
Oh yeah, for sure. And what I like about the people on Paraflix is I see that they take it way more serious.
Yeah.
You're gonna watch their videos and it is different. It's not screaming. It's like us. Even you see our videos where like it's about investigating. We're not running around or freaking out or anything like that. It happens, but everybody is very dedicated to what they're doing on Paraflix. 100%. It's very different, and you don't feel like the pressure. You know what I mean? Like YouTube, there was a lot of pressure, a lot of like ridiculous drama, a lot of ridiculousness. It's not like that. It's a totally different vibe.
No more trolls, no more bad comments,
no more. It's you're taken serious because we're serious about what we do,
Absolutely.
Nobody knew our background or why we started. No one asked. You know what I mean? They just want to see what you get, and it's like we didn't go into, we had been investigating for a couple of years. And then one day I was like, man, we're getting a lot of great evidence. Let's put it on YouTube. So I want people to see this and see, is this normal to get this, and that's just why we started YouTube. And then I just kind of like you see all this craziness on there. You're like, I was not brokenhearted to leave YouTube. We put like a trailer up there recently and stuff, but it's very different with paraflix.
And that's why I asked, really, because I found that I do the editing, and I've kind of fallen out of love
massively
with it.
We've got investigations here that we're not even going through the editing on, and we've got some amazing
that we caught on there on the night, and the stuff that I've even gone through and gone, holy shit, we had a bang on a door that we all heard, and we ran downstairs to capture. And I've looked through the cameras, and you can't even hear it. You can hear us reacting, you can't hear the bang. And we've got so much great stuff. But
we had a room light up at night in
a
castle. We were all sat there, 4 cameras recording, 1 on us, 1 on the equipment, 1 on the lock-off stuff, and we're talking between us, and then the room just goes poof and lights up like somebody lit a flash. I'm praying that we've got that.
But we've got so much good stuff, and I've kind of fallen out of love with it, and that's why I asked. Really, is I do feel like we've become under that umbrella of YouTuber.
Yeah.
And
we're still going out, but we're not downloading it, uploading it to YouTube.
Yeah, maybe that'll be our paraflix journey, and maybe that's where that stuff will go. I don't know. So it's interesting that you've got that same definition as well, that the YouTuber thing and running around.
But then paraflix is set up for exactly what you're doing, whereas YouTube is set up for everybody, and there's tons of nasty, horrible. I mean, fingers crossed and touch wood, we don't ever get any nasty comment. We get one from. And we know who's doing that, but it's one person, one comment on every video. Right. I can take that, but there is some naughty people out there that you see with some of the comments that they're putting on and think, wow, they don't deserve that. They don't deserve the comments they're getting and the
we hear so many people, and you probably heard it as well, from paranormal investigators that have said, I'm coming off YouTube for my own mental health because I've had this, that and the other, and I feel so sorry for them. Like you say, it's expensive to do. It's an expensive hobby. It's a passion of all of ours. Nobody gets into the paranormal because they were just bored one day and they thought, hey, I know what I'm going to do. Let's grab a camera and go into that really creepy place.
You've got to have your own reason.
You've got to have a passion. Everybody's got their own reason, and it's just really sad that platform, where we all are, obviously you guys have moved on, is not great for paranormal.
No, I think it's time we moved on. I think very soon.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, getting back to you guys and your experiences, where is your rock throne like we've got that keeps you up at 4 o'clock in the morning?
I'm talking about
and it really pisses you off, and you keep going over and over and over and over, and you keep going around in circles. What evidence for you is that?
You go first. Well, I think.
I don't know.
We've just caught so many of it. It's hard to pinpoint one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely that thing smashing behind us at Bobby Mackey's basement. That was pretty intense. That was probably the most intense moment we've had.
Yeah, we had a rock thrown at, which we have not released the video yet, is Ashmore Estates. We've had the same experience. You could hear it just bouncing down, and we were in a hallway together, and then there's a room like straight down, and we're just like doing EVP, and all of a sudden you just hear donk, 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 and I'm like, oh my God.
That wasn't thrown at us, so that was way down the hallway. We just happened to hear it.
Yeah, that's it. And again, it's almost like that force. That if you're wanting to hit you, fly past your head, it could do.
Do you not find, right, and this might sound, this is what we find. Normally when we're setting up, something will happen and we're not recording. So now we've stopped that. We record. The minute we step in that room, we record now. But when we stop doing the investigation, we sit down for a minute and we sit and we chat, bang. It's like, whoa.
You've had that happen.
As well.
So weird, and it's happening more and more. When we're concentrating on trying to focus on what we're doing, it's just not little things, little REM pod will go off, little K2 go off. But when we're actually talking amongst ourselves, it's like someone's going, oh, I'm here. I'll let you know.
Like as well, like we get 10-15 minutes of really intense, if it's going to happen, just a 10-15 minute window.
And then done.
And then
it goes quiet for about an hour.
Do you get the same
Do you get that?
Yeah, one time we were at Prospect Place Mansion on the 3rd floor, and it was raining real hard. It was a very stormy night, and we have the camera set up on a tripod, filming both of us. And we did a spirit box. We're sitting there for maybe 20 minutes. A little blip, a little blep there. Nothing too crazy. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I don't remember what it said. It just it came through really loud, and she screamed.
Because we were getting ready to turn everything off, and just I'm looking down, not paying attention, and this loud.
You're not in the mindset.
car, so I screamed.
And so she screamed, and then I screamed, and then I'm like, and I got frustrated because she's screaming, and now I'm screaming, and so I walk over, and I'm like, all right, we'll just do it a little bit later, and I turn the camera off, and right there in that moment, a basketball-sized glowing anomaly just moves along the floor of the wall.
And I just grabbed him, and we just watched it, and I was like, the camera's off!
And again, the camera was off. There's no way we can prove it, but we both saw it. It was the size of a basketball just moving slowly along the floor.
It was crazy.
The second we turned the goddamn camera off.
Why I like talking to other paranormal investigators like this, because I think there's so much we can learn from each other, but there's also so much things we can cross-reference and say, that happened, my God, that happened to us. And it's like when you're in a building, you're investigating, and a REM pad will go off, and then something else will go off, or you'll get an EVP. It's almost like oh my God, we're not crazy. Like, this is happening to other people as well. Like, we're turning cameras off.
I'm getting to the stage now where it might sound selfish, where I don't care if I don't catch it on camera anymore. Just show me. I don't care if it's not recorded. I don't care if I can't show it everybody. Just show it me, and then I'm good. So, and I'll still plug on with what we're doing, but just to get that.
Right, me and Rocky.
Yeah, but like you say, that wasn't recorded. And I'm like, I'm at the point now where I don't really care.
Do you know what I think it is? I don't think I want it recorded to necessarily show everybody else, although it's cool. It's, for me, I struggle. Like, you see something, and then you doubt yourself. So me and Rocky saw a shadow figure, like, fully straight in front of our eyes together.
I was changing the battery.
He was changing the battery. Cameras were down, and I even say to Lee today, if you get to see something like that, I hope you're standing next to somebody, because I feel like I can then turn to Rocky, and he can turn to me, and we go, "But did we really just see that?" Like, and you can describe everything.
Both I knew something had gone wrong because they looked at each other and they were both like,
"Yeah, that's it." So I feel like that's kind of why I want the camera, necessarily not because I doubt myself, but it's always because your brain tells you that doesn't exist. That can't happen. That doesn't exist. You didn't see that shadow of that person. That's why I feel like I do kind of need a camera so I can look back and go, I'm not going mad. Like, I really did see something. But we've spoken to some paranormal investigators who've been doing it for quite a long time, and they said they're at the point now where they find that if they go out, because they go out with the children, and they don't turn the camera on, and they find that they get so much more, because they're saying to us is, you're getting what you're getting when we've got our equipment out and we've got our cameras on. But if you just go somewhere just once and turn your cameras off and don't get your equipment out, your senses are so much more heightened that you will get a hell of a lot more. Right. And
they said they're beyond believers now. They're knowers. They don't believe anymore. They know.
I know it's there, which is cool. We'd all like to get.
Yeah, I want to be a knower.
I want to be a knower.
Which is exactly why we keep our equipment basic. But we recently got a REM pod. We play with that. But really, it's just we got the spirit box, we got the recorders, and the camera. That's it.
That's it.
And that's it. That's kind of all you really need.
EDI is really good because we tried setting them off with phones, Wi-Fi. Will not set it off. Mm-hmm. Will not set it off at all. That's a credible tool. Yeah, REM pod. I can set that off in 2 seconds, even in the kitchen from here.
But we still use them. We do use them.
But you set that off. Then I'll buy it.
Get a couple of triggers going. I don't believe in these ovuluses.
No.
And they're probably going to get hated for
SLS
that.
cameras.
Yeah. And people who use apps on their phone, everyone has their own opinion and their own way of investigating. It's just not something we
don't feel comfortable.
That's it. This is our opinion. I mean, we've looked during lockdown. We were so
Everybody
bored.
has their own way, right? But you've got to think about it
logically. Yeah. And during lockdown we were so bored. Obviously, we couldn't go anywhere, so we got the necrophonic app on our phone, and we paid £10 for it.
Yeah.
Just
to research it, and so our opinions on that are pretty poor. And somebody today actually said to us, "Let's get the necrophonic," and I said, "No, won't be using that."
It's just a data bank. It's just a 5-channel data bank, spitting out bits of words, mixing them up, and every now and again an odd word thrown in it. And if you listen to it long enough, it comes round again.
Yeah.
We investigated with a friend of ours, and he busted out his necrophonic, and it was our first time actually ever being in the presence of it. I've seen it on YouTube or whatever, but never been with somebody who was actually using it. And so, from someone who had never seen it before, I was interested to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What happened?
The first thing he said is, it kept repeating the same words.
I'm like, I heard the same. We only had it on for an hour, for 45 minutes an hour. I heard the same word 5 times.
Yeah. It also mimics as well, because we had it running here. We did loads of different tests. We'd run it for 45 minutes, then we'd turn it off for so long. We'd run it for an hour, and then we'd turn it off, and then we'd use the different settings and run it for an hour. And we were sitting here one night waiting for it, weren't we? and he said something to me, and it mimicked back. So we've tested into it. Look, listen, I don't want to sound like I'm slating people who use it, because everybody is on their own journey. Everybody is doing it for a completely different reason. People haven't got, you think the crap. No, but I mean, as paranormal investigators go, not everybody's got a budget where they can afford an SB7 or, you know, equivalent. So they use these apps on the phone. That's absolutely fine. However, I think that as long as you use a little bit of common sense with it, you know, I mean, we've heard endless people will send us stuff and go, listen to this I've got on it, says my mum's name. And I go, yeah, but it might do, but, you know, how long have you ran it for? Or it only ever works in haunted buildings. Why, have you tried it in an unhaunted building?
No, because we've also done that. We took it like everywhere we went out for the day, and the minute you light that thing up, that it kicks off with words. Yeah. So what? Every place you can visit is haunted.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But everybody's on their own journey, and everybody's doing it for a totally different reason. I feel like I need to research it. I feel like I need to know why. My issue lies in these YouTubers that then claim the bullshit that they put out, that they know is bullshit, is real. And as much as it doesn't annoy me like it does with Lee, it annoys me from our point of view and like your point of view. We do a lot of research. We spend a lot of money in our own spare times. I mean, let's face it, we don't all want to be in dark, dingy, abandoned buildings. You guys you know what I mean? We do it for a reason, because we love doing it. And we spend all that time, and then you've got somebody, idiot, that comes along, spends 10 minutes and then claims. And then they have thousands of millions of followers that go, oh my God, that's this, that, and the other. And I think, really?
Well, the people who are like taking it serious and catching this incredible evidence are just falling through the cracks. You don't see that amazing evidence, you know?
And the hours that we put in, that's what gets me. The hours that we put in for somebody to turn up for 2 hours and just trash everything that, not necessarily we've done, but yeah, we've done, because we spend hours upon hours upon hours.
And so does a lot of other paranormal investigators who take it seriously. But yeah, it is what it is. But going back to equipment, keeping it, I mean, especially if there's any up and coming paranormal investigators that listen to this podcast, keep your equipment simple. Like, keep it simple. Go with what you can afford in your budget.
But the only trouble I've got with equipment that's got like energy fields and stuff, we don't know what's going through the air. We don't know what Wi-Fi's flying through the air. What signal? However, there is a device you can buy, and it's on Amazon, and it'll tell you. Like, if you get hit on your REM, it'll tell you what that signal is that's gone through the air. So it'll tell you, even if it's a message sent from 100 yards away, it'll tell you that that's just picked up a message in the air.
Because we were in a building the other day, and this is really interesting, is that we were up in quite high up in the mountains, and the REM pod kept triggering up on the top floor, like constantly triggering. We get the spirit box out, and the first time ever, and it's never happened to us anywhere, we were picking every radio station up you can think of. Like, normally it's just white noise for us and you get the odd blip.
We don't have an aerial now.
We keep the aerial down, don't we? And we were getting everything and anything. And then we went downstairs to the bottom floor, and the REM pod stopped working. And then we were getting no radio signals, and it never triggered.
So that kicked my brain into thinking, right, well then, let's try and figure out why it's triggering. And then at least if we can dismiss natural, if it triggers and that thing says it's unnatural, then bingo. I mean, I started making stuff now that's like a 3-in-1. So if that triggers and then you see a temperature drop, it's built into the same device, maybe something worth looking at. But for me, if a REM pod goes off, I like a good old voice recorder, a camera, and just calling out.
Yeah, and I know you guys, we get a lot of really good responses on Spirit Box, but I've listened to it.
I wasn't at first. I
was a bit skeptical of that, but I've heard you guys, your EVPs, and some of the stuff you've got gives me the chills, and I've not even been there with you.
We tend to get some crazy energy around us, you know. Because what we do when we go, a lot of times we'll do a walkthrough first. I'm pretty sensitive. I can feel where it's going to be in the room, so we'll do a walkthrough with no equipment. And then, we'll walk.
Or just the video camera for shots, for the videos.
Like for camera shots.
Like B-roll.
So we go by like where I tend to feel the heaviest, and it's crazy. It's just, I get a lot of energy around me in some of these buildings, and it's not always the nicest energy, so it can get very scary. I've captured some pretty crazy.
But that's the way to do it, because you go on these. If you happen to go to a place where there's a tour guide and they say, oh, that room right there is where they always take
absolutely.
That room over there is where they've seen apparitions. You don't go by that. You go by your own
somewhere else.
By your own feelings.
When we go to places, I mean, obviously we don't sense like what you do, Francis, but Lee will say to me, let's look the history up, and I'll say, absolutely not. I don't want to know one thing, because while you're telling me that Bert died in the bedroom and we're all focused on that, we're missing everything else that's going on around us. So I'll say to you, like,
you're a big...
I'd rather not know anything. I don't even want to know if they've heard a little girl walking up and down. I want to know nothing, because that's the best way to do it. Have you ever looked into why you're sensitive, or have you ever even gone down that road?
I've tried to because I've tried to talk to my mom, like my family members and stuff, and nobody has ever gone through what I've gone through. So I started with my family, talking to my mom a lot, talking her, asked if she's heard of anybody in our family, and everybody, at first she thought I was just kind of like weird, but after the other house, she started listening to me more. She's like, okay, there's something going on here. And they actually follow all of our stuff now. But like I said, this past year or so, I've been really kind of just tracing back to earliest memories, because, I'm trying to find answers. I'm like, I don't know if, did something happen when I was a kid? Was I in some situation sometime I opened myself up to it? I don't know, it's just, I've had so many weird things happen through all the years. I'm just still searching. And now I see our daughter, she's 9. You can just tell she just is very, very
exactly the same.
See, in a lot of cases, you hear like you'll say, I heard this noise, or I heard this, and to you it might be like a growl or something that makes you feel uncomfortable. However, that could be somebody reaching out to you that's just trying to let you know they're there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mean to scare you. They don't mean to growl. You hear that quite a lot.
Yeah,
you do hear that quite a lot.
What's that got to do with what? Were you sitting there thinking?
I was thinking about.
I'm talking about. Dear me, he's three.
No, I was just thinking about the house and about how someone's maybe attractive, but maybe someone's been with you all the time, and and it's not something different. Maybe it's just their way of saying to you, listen, I'm here.
So is it for you? Is it like you sense it? Like you just feel it, or
I could feel it. I can feel when somebody walks in the room. Like when I'm alone. I know I can feel when the energy shift, and if I'm in here, and I can just tell something has walked in here. My daughter actually, the past 2 years or so, she's been coming to us a lot because she feels something in her room. She says it just stands over her and watches her. And so one time it was like last year, we were like, we took her out of her room for the night, and I set a camera up there, an infrared camera. And I was like, let's just see, because she's scared. She's having problems sleeping in there because she just hears the talking, and she says she feels like someone's watching her all the time. So I'm like, let's just put an infrared camera. Let's just see what we catch, I watched all the footage. We did it for like 3 nights, and we caught a couple things moving around. I'm like, oh, that's probably nothing. Well, there's this one particular video. He had went to work. It was like 4:35 in the morning. I'm watching really close, and I see this little light, moving across the thing. I'm like, oh, it's probably just something that I'm just watching it. And I see it go by the TV, because she has a TV up there, and behind the camera, and all of a sudden you see the camera like move like that really hard. And I remember it just like made me jump back, and I was like, oh my God, and it's like something hit it really hard. But that was it.
That's a different level, isn't it?
I'm like, yeah, I ain't putting that in there anymore. She says that she just can hear someone talking, and then she feels like someone's just watching her. So it makes her uncomfortable. I was like, does it feel scary? And she's like, no, I just don't like it. I'm like, well, and we've actually together have been playing in the kitchen. One day we're sitting there talking, we were playing some game, and full out we heard a little girl go, hello. And we just froze. She's like, you heard that, right, Mommy? I'm all, heard what? And because I wasn't trying to pass it off. I'm like, maybe it was what I told you. She's like, no, Mommy, I heard it. She's like, I heard it. And I'm just like, I heard it too, and it happened recently. We were reading stories with him, and we're in the room because we do story night with her every night, and flat out, you just heard this voice call out, and me and her both were like, what was that? He's all, what was what? And we're both like, we just heard somebody call out in the house, and it's just something.
So do you, when you're on location, do you hear things that only you hear then? Or obviously you sense things, but do you hear stuff and see stuff as well that only you hear and see?
I definitely think I feel it way more than he does. I mean, he hears things and stuff too, but I think I'm definitely way more sensitive to it than he is. And we've actually taken our daughter, when we travel far away, we take our kids with us, because our son, he's older, he watches her. Yeah. And she was in Pennhurst, she was in Trans-Allegheny, and they actually, Ashmore Estates, our daughter did
just listen to the places they're naming.
I know, yeah. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
She actually did an EVP session at Pennhurst Asylum. the people went in there, because we when we go to the faraway, we take them so they can learn the history of the building. Part of what we do, because we travel a lot. So they actually let her go in this room and do an EVP session. And she's like, it was funny because she's like, if you're in here, can you give me a sign? And we hear this bang, we come right from the room next door to us. And she's like, did you hear it? She was so excited. And she did a session at Ashmore Estates. They actually you can keep her here the whole night and investigate with you. Like, no.
A lot of people will say that children shouldn't be on investigations. I agree to a certain extent. However, I think if you're the parents and you're controlling it, then that's fine. But especially for your daughter, it will do her good to be there and experience little bits with you, because then it doesn't make her so scared.
Yeah, absolutely.
She has a bit more of an understanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because obviously we all fear the unknown. A big part of what we do when we're sitting in rooms, we don't know what's happening. It can scare us. So yeah, that we take our children, don't we?
Yeah.
We take our children. Obviously, we don't do full investigations with them, but I think it helps. And I think, especially like I say, for your daughter and the history and stuff. But that's so cool. That must be cool for her, because to know that she's asked for something and she's got a response, especially the fact that she feels stuff and she's got stuff in her bedroom going on. It's cool for when we all get it.
If she walks away with a positive experience, then it's not so bad. Then I don't know, because if someone's standing over my bed, I don't even think getting a response in all places.
No, but at the end of the day, it just bridges that link that you don't be scared to explore.
Right.
It's not like we're all saying as parents, like, go off, kids, do Ouija board in your bedroom when we're not listening. Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, as an adult, if I seen someone standing over my bed constantly, I'd be worried.
Yeah, of course, but
worried.
You as an adult are able to break down the rationale of stuff.
Yeah, I'd say it's headlights from outside playing the shadow on and explain it that way. However, there probably could be something well stood over.
Absolutely. And if you can take her out and just experience some of that. By the way, we are just like you guys. We take our children everywhere. Our children are 18 and 15 now. We've taken them everywhere, like even as little tots, didn't we? I love taking the kids. We'd love to take them, especially to things like history and stuff like that, don't we?
Especially places where we can't fit.
So I think that's another good point, especially for people that are listening. If you've got children, don't be frightened to let them experience it, as long as it's in a controlled environment. None of us as parents would put our children in an environment where we put them at risk.
Want to scare them,
let her stay the whole night. We'll take her in for about an hour or so, and then we'll take them to a hotel, because our son, like I said, he's an adult. He watches her, and we go back and investigate the whole night. We'll let her have a taste of it, and it's funny, when we took her to Ashmore Estates and we were doing the history, the lady actually told me afterwards, she's like, I could see your daughter. She was picking up the rooms where the known activity happened. She's like, you could see it the way she was reacting. It was my daughter would walk down the hallway and she'd be like, that room, I don't want to go in.
And that's what that is good validation for your daughter. That just makes her feel a little bit less alone.
Yeah.
So what she's sensing and she's feeling and she's seeing is all happening. We're not going completely crazy.
And it doesn't have to be in a negative way, does it?
No, absolutely. And that's what I mean. As adults, we've had life experience. We're a little bit more rational. We can break stuff down. We can kind of understand it. But as a child, by taking her out to these places and letting her hear that somebody said that, you kind of see how you're reacting in the certain rooms that we've had activity, for her, it's a positive way to say to her.
An experience.
Yeah, you what you're seeing and you're feeling is absolutely real, and we can absolutely talk about it. You hear people, like especially mediums now, they tell stories of when they were little, how the parents were shut down, shut off, they were so scared, it scared the crap out of them, it gave a really bad experience for the first part of their lives. So yeah, I think it's absolutely brilliant that you're taking her and letting her experience these things.
That's one thing I make it very clear to her when I tell her all the time that I believe her and her to come to me, and she can talk to me about it, because when the thing happened, when she saw the woman, she was very emotional. She was very upset. She said, she's like, why did I see that? And I told her, I was like, I think you're just like mommy. I think you are sensitive. And she's like, I don't like it. I don't want it. And I was like, it's not a bad thing. I was like, you know, it's over the last couple of years. I mean, it's really like, I tell her, come talk to me about it. I believe you. You can come to me anytime. And so she's become more comfortable talking about it. And because it was like really scary for her when that happened and really emotional. I mean, she was just crying. She's like, you know, she was so confused. And
that's it. And that's what I mean. As an adult, as an adult, stuff that happens to us on investigations, that's an investigation. It's not in our own house. We can't figure it out. So as a little child, that, you know, must be really scary. To be able to have that experience.
She was meant to see her, or she wouldn't have seen her, would she?
Absolutely. So, I think that's another really valid point. Really, people. We've heard a lot of people negative comments about children being on investigations, and I agree to a certain extent. Children shouldn't be on investigations like all night. I mean, you guys have got it right. The balance is right. You were there in a really creepy place. You were doing an investigation all night. Your kid was there for like an hour, 2 hours, whatever, doing a little bit, experiencing a little bit, and that's absolutely how it should be done.
And that's what we do with Lewis, don't we?
And that's what we do with
Jessica. She was 17, turning 18, so we took her on a 3-night in that asylum, and on that 3rd night,
that happens.
We took her to try and give her a good experience, and she quit that night. She would never come. She's not coming with us again. She won't come with us again.
I think if we could rewind maybe a little bit out of you guys' book, take them for a couple of hours, build them in easier. Build them in easy, but anyway.
Well, at 17, she's old enough to say, I want to come with you.
Absolutely.
And it's nice to have them with you, and it's nice that they're interested in what you're interested in. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Many people can say that, can't they, about teenage kids anyway.
Except for Lewis. Lewis will go, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. Like, my mates know you are at school, and like, they're following you on Instagram and that. Dad, it's stupid. And like, you're dead embarrassed by it.
The martial arts instructor wants to come with you, they're following you. So you're on Paraflix now. You've been to some absolutely amazing locations. What's next for you guys? What like, is there a direction you want to go in? Like, I want to kind of get into the mechanics of it, and why? Is there a direction you guys want to go?
Well, currently right now we have tons of footage that we're working on. Mm-hmm. We investigated like 14 or 15 big locations last year. So right now it's just a matter of, you know, trying to pound through all the editing and get some episodes out. But once we get back into the filming, we're planning on trying to do some more low-key, less popular and well-known locations to see if maybe it either enhances the amount of evidence we get or decreases it or whatever. Just kind of try to not do such famous places.
And I'd be interested in if you guys are up for it, coming back on after you've done that and just seeing what your take on it. Again, it's like that thing where we should be sharing stuff as investigators. That's our experience. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be everybody. So it would certainly be interesting to see what experience you guys have.
We got slated when we went to the Ancient Ram, and because it's so well known over here, and like, we won't bullshit, we'll tell you what we get. We're all on camera. It is what it is. I'm not going to make a place bigger than it is, and I'm certainly not going to lie and say we got things we didn't get. And because we come away and we say on that, when people put, oh my God, we got this, what a crazy place, and it's demon, and I put, really? Because that wasn't what it looked like for us. And they were going, oh, well, you're just trying to give the place a bad name. No, I'm telling you the truth. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't right. I'm just saying on that night, for us, and we took extra time. We actually took it for longer, extra time that it was flat, it was dead, and it was just didn't happen. But they can't accept that, like the fanatic. What Have a Bad Name said about the place, it's like they'll throw it on your toes and say, well, it's you lot.
See, some people only want to stick to the well-known locations. So to hear that you guys want to try that out as well is like a breath of fresh air, because it would be interesting to see. I tell you what I would really like to do is and I've said this for years now, is take one of the places that we went to, take that night a year later at the same time, and let's just see, you know, if there's something.
If it's a replay or if it's a replay.
Yeah, or maybe do a live on a location that's really active for us, and maybe do a live with you guys on a location that's really active, and see if any of that channels, you know, you never know, do you? You don't know what it is that works, you know. So so it'd be really cool to see your guys.
It'd be cool if we could meet up at some time in the future.
No, that would be good.
Do something together. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be good. Where would you take it? Where would you say, like, oh, I know where they need to go, or one of the best places? Where would you go?
Probably Madison Seminary out here, an amazing location. Probably one of the most active we've been out here in Ohio.
Yeah, I've seen your episode on it.
That place has history dating all the way back to the Civil War for us. Very, very, very active location. And also only 45 minutes away from us, too.
Yeah.
So that
Oh,
has
there you go. Job done. There we go. That's where we're going. I'd love to go there.
I'd take you to Scotland. Definitely Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
that's bucket list stuff
Yep,
for us, man.
yep.
Go to
We're
Scotland.
doing Edinburgh Vaults at the end of
April.
and it's one of our bucket lists. We're having to share it with another team because it's so
Mega money.
It's like, is it 6 hours? 7 hours?
It's £100 an hour.
Wow. That's how Ohio State Reformatory is out here.
Yeah.
That's another iconic location very close to us. They, I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie, The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah, they filmed that movie at this prison.
Yeah.
And it's it's like almost $3,000 for the night just to have it to get you.
So how much do you guys? I mean, you don't have to answer this, but like, what's average?
What's
sort of
average
price
for an
a
average?
night? Yeah.
Every place is different, and every place, even if you go on a Wednesday as opposed to a Saturday. Also,
Yeah, we get that.
So it could be, as cheap as $100 all the way up to as much as like $350 a night.
Right. Yes.
They're all pretty much on par, aren't they? They're all
Apart from this
roughly
vault.
about 500 to 700 quid a night.
Yeah, which is it's a lot of money, It's a lot of
Yeah.
money for a night. Which is kind of the reason why we went to abandoned buildings. However, now, like I say,
So glad we did.
I'm so glad we did because that's where we get the most of our evidence. But yeah, we would take you to Scotland. We love Scotland. Amazing places that I'd love to take.
The castles and the history there is unbelievable.
I tell you what, I would like to take you, but unfortunately it's going to be knocked down soon. That asylum where we got that rock, because it'd be interesting to see your take on it, to see your feelings and see what you. Wouldn't it be cool if you lived close enough to somebody? See, we haven't really got this sort of connection with. Around us, there's a lot of YouTubers. There's not many paranormal investigators.
We don't collaborate. We don't
collaborate
because we know we trust each other 1,000,000%. And we've brought somebody in before, and when we brought them in, this is God's honest truth. We went to a place and there was a bang, right? And Sarah went, "Was that you?" And the lad went,
"No, it wasn't
me." Didn't realise you had night vision filming. And when Sarah went through the editing, bingo. So I texted and went, "Oi, I thought you said, yeah, but I was only having I thought, nah, mate, you can't do that.
John.
I'm done with
and
that."
I suppose you
and from then
experienced
on,
it.
we're stuck to us.
And I suppose you experienced a little bit being husband and wife as well. You trust each other 100%, and it, it is what it is.
But they've got what we've got, haven't they?
Absolutely. And it would be interesting, right? It would be so interesting to say to you guys, right, there's that location.
You go
4 nights like we did. Let's see what you got. That's kind of where I'm at in my journey. Like, I would love to see. I just think that not many paranormal investigators share notes. They don't compare stories. They don't compare evidence, even if it's in completely different corners of the world. They just don't do it.
And you have to be careful what you say as well. Like Sarah has to rein me in sometimes. Like I just want to say how I feel, and sometimes Sarah says you can't just say that, Lee. You can't.
No, what it is, Lee just says it, right? He says it in a way that I know he's not being horrible, but he says it in a way that sounds so harsh that I go, just hang on a minute. If you just put a hand in there or an eye or just tone it down a little bit. Yeah, you kind of just off the cuff a little bit, aren't you? Mm-hmm. You engage the mouth before the fingers before the brain.
Definitely.
I'm not like that at all.
Aren't you?
The same thing. I will get off. I'm like, you probably shouldn't have said that.
I know. I spent this is God's honest truth. I must have spent the first 12 months really, really scared that we were going to get so much shit online. And not from people that, I mean, I don't care if you dislike my stuff. If you don't, listen, if everybody liked everything we all liked, this world would be very bloody boring. But I just thought we were going to get the keyboard warriors that just want to really just nail in on you. And so I would spend probably the first year of us being on YouTube saying, don't say anything, keep it nice, like, don't hurt anybody. Because I'm frightened of saying something honestly, hurting somebody's feelings, and then them retaliating and being damn right nasty.
That's the whole point.
And now I don't care anymore.
If I've got a point, I'll say my point, and then if you've got a point, and I'll take it in, and then I'll go, actually, yeah, I'm probably wrong on that.
I think I was just very wary of that. I don't know, the mental health side of YouTube. But now I let you just go with it, don't I? Because funny enough, I found out by letting him say what his piece is that a lot of people who are genuine paranormal investigators like you guys have the same opinions.
Yeah. I get a lot of people who say, "Oh my God, I've been thinking that for ages, just didn't dare to say it." I'm thinking, why?
Yeah.
Just say it. Call a spade, not
spade. Yeah, that's it. So it's for me. Wouldn't it be cool if we could get you in that location?
Yeah.
See what you come up with.
That would be
swap.
Maybe we should do like wife swap, UK-US paranormal swap.
Yeah.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Maybe we venture off.
It's a shame that it's so far away.
I know,
isn't it?
It's
Like even if it was like a 3 or 4 hour flight, we'd probably be over there. But when you're talking 12, 14, 16 hours, it's a long way, and it's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive, yeah.
So I've been to Heathrow. I know how long that flight is. It's long.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're in Manchester, so
we're 5 hours from London, aren't we?
I think that makes us a little bit closer.
We're slap bang in the middle of it. When you look at the UK,
Manchester.
put a dot in the middle, and we're in between Liverpool and Manchester, right in the middle.
Yeah, it's a long flight. It's a shame, really, isn't it? But like we say, the grass is always greener on the other side. Tell you what I've noticed since lockdown as well is there's so many things in our country that I didn't know existed.
Right.
So many places that we've just never, or maybe just taken for granted. And we drive down, like, I don't know, we buy stuff off Facebook, or we just bought a car for our daughter recently, and we go down these lanes, and I'm like, geez, I didn't know this was here, I didn't know that was here, and that pub's there, and there is so many things.
And you'll drive past the castle, and you go, what? Wait a minute. No, that was there.
Been here before, that's it. So it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. I know we've waffled a bit, guys, but I have enjoyed it. I hope you guys have.
I'm sure you'll add it, so
I'll add it so it makes. Listen, we waffle a bit. Look, I don't want to do the conventional. What's your favourite this?
Yeah.
What's your favourite that? What
Yeah.
We all have those podcasts, haven't we? Where endless stuff. I like to talk to you guys as real people, and I just find it interesting.
I just don't like to have a notepad on that side, just off the cuff, innit?
Oh yeah.
So thank you very much. Before we go, let everybody know where they can find you. Where your stuff is. Obviously, we've mentioned Paraflix, so a lot of people obviously won't know what that is. So,
Paraflix is just a new streaming service. It's like Netflix, but for the paranormal, and it's just a stepping stone on our road. We're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook. Beyond the Veil Investigations. It's just, for us, it's about getting the evidence out there and drawing more people into looking at the paranormal in a positive way, because it's amazing. It's an amazing field, and there's amazing things. There's voices out there that want to be heard, and we want to get them out there. That's our main.
100%.
Like recently, we heard somebody say, we did a podcast, and I heard someone say, yeah, I go record all night, and I just kind of scan through the videos, and if I hear something, I'll stop it. Because we told them we'll spend, it'll take us 3 nights to go through a 5-minute clip, because we slow down every second. He's like, how do you do that? And I told him afterwards, I was like, why would I go to a location, spend 10 hours and not listen every second? Because that can be the second I miss that one message.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to us, because we want to get passed on what they have to say. We're not doing them justice if we're not listening to everything they have to say.
Absolutely.
I want to hear every message, because what if we miss that one important thing? You know what I mean? It's like,
we could sit there for 10 hours, and that time you skip through is that time, and that only time that they say something. It takes me hours and hours and hours and months to put an episode together for the exact same reason. We film with 4 cameras, sometimes it's 7, sometimes
4 cameras, 3 nights.
4 cameras, 3 nights, and I do feel like a little bit like I go.
And I don't have to do any of the editing.
Doesn't do anything, but I say, what are you doing now? And I'm like, I'm still listening to the same room that I was listening to 3 bloody days ago. But yeah, that's how anybody can skip through that. We heard of people, right, who'll say, oh, I've got like 10 hours worth of footage there. What did you do with it? Oh, I couldn't be bothered. So I just went with whatever footage I went through. And you're like, what? What's wrong with you people? Why would you spend all your time doing it and like you say, not doing this justice?
We've been working almost a month on the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because we go through everything and we rewind it and slow it down, and we don't want to miss anything. It's an injustice to them, these spirits that you want to trust you and open up to you. And we're not going to take that time to hear what they have to say.
Absolutely. And it takes a lot of hard work to get them to feel comfortable enough to. Like, I feel privileged when I hear something on that camera. Even if I didn't hear it at the time, I feel privileged. Like, they've chosen us for whatever reason. They felt comfortable to do that.
And so I've also learned to say, like, when we used to go places, I used to go, I heard something, and then Sarah kept saying, just tell me what. Don't care if it sounds the most ridiculous thing like you've ever heard, just tell me what you hear. And a couple of times I've said what I've heard, and she's laughed at me and gone, are you being serious? I'm going, that's what I just heard, and when I'm playback,
it's there.
So it pays to document, like if you hear something, say it, because not only is it a marker for you to then take
for the editing, But I noticed again, like with the slowing it down and the turning it up, that's when, you know, there is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure I've missed, and you guys have probably missed as well. And if you're anything like me, you've gone through it, but there's loads of stuff. I mean, there's stuff that I do, and then I've gone to Lee, oh, you're not going to believe this, listen to this. And he's listened to it, and I've gone, hang on a minute, I've heard something else. And, you know, now I've listened to it 1,000 times by that point, and then give it to you, and then I've heard something else as well. So, yeah, I don't know why anybody would skip through, but yeah, it is a privilege when they come through. It is you know, and if we can get people into the positive side of the paranormal and get them realizing that we're not all here to hunt demons and set up a camera and, you know, Granny's ghost going to walk in the room.
The where, the how, and the who.
Absolutely, and have a positive experience with it rather than, you know, the entertainment side of it. Yeah. So yeah, that's great, and that's why I really admire you guys. I do feel like everybody crosses paths in their lives for a reason. I do feel like you guys are kind of the same with us. We started together. I feel like you are kind of a little bit like us. You know, husband and wife, obviously we've got Rocky. So you're kind of very much in tune with us, which is great.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming on. And please come back. Maybe you might not want to. Might have bored the hell out of you.
Anytime you
I'd
want.
love to. I want to come back. I don't sound like a choking duck.
Yeah, you've done
that
really well.
That sounds bad. That cough sounds pretty bad.
Yeah.
To me, anyway, coming through there.
Yeah.
I want to come back and talk to you guys again when I can actually talk to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Come back on, and like I say, I mean, it's a bit of a mishmash what we talk about, but I mean, it's real life, innit? And it is what it is. I hate that saying, by the way.
I can only say how I feel. You can only say what you feel and what you're doing, and it just is what it is.
It is what it is. But I really would be interested in seeing where you go next. You know, in your journey,
and what you get from the lesser locations.
Yeah,
definitely
for sure.
Because for us, I wouldn't go back. If it was left to me, I wouldn't go back. I mean, we're going the vaults, but I'd rather save my money and go to these asylums that are absolutely blow these places to pieces. And like, I don't like telling people, because I don't want to tell people like why we get what we get, and like that's our journey. That's go and do your own work. Yeah. Go and do it for 3 or 4 years, and you'll figure it out yourself. What's however, definitely just let us know about the lesser known locations, because for us, they're blowing away the. Yeah,
I'd be really interested in your take, and then maybe you know, sometime in the very, very far future, near future, whatever, maybe we come to America and we go and do one of these places that you've done, and we can compare notes, because that again would be really interesting.
Oh, we'll be going together.
Yeah, but it would be interesting though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but
I know, but I mean, if we go somewhere like in a different state where these guys aren't, obviously I want to do something with them. I do want to do something with you guys, but it would be interesting, wouldn't it, to see? I think anyway. That's just me. So thank you very much for joining Lee for his podcast that I've kind of been on.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to become a permanent thing. He just wants me here. Look at his little face. All right, so thank you very much, guys, and good luck with everything you're doing. Good luck with the hours of editing that you've got. You have absolutely my sympathy for the endless hours of sitting there with headphones on, listening to silent rooms.
Can't wait to see what you've got at some of these places as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for having us come on. You know, I've told him from the beginning, since YouTube days, I'm like, those are the one people that I hope we get to meet someday. I used to tell him that all the time.
There you go. It's written in the stars.
Yep.
Hope so.
Thank you very much.
One day.
Okay, so thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's afternoon, I think, for you, is it? You guys, is it afternoon?
It's like evening time, 7 o'clock in the night.
So it's like midnight for us evening, so thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the listeners that are joining us. Lee's going to say thank you because it's his podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
And hopefully we get to speak to these guys soon, maybe next year when you've got everything out and you've, you know, done a bit of
maybe even joining Paraflix next.
Yeah.
Maybe even towards the end of this year.
That'd be cool, because then we can watch your stuff. But continue to keep putting your stuff on Instagram and Twitter, and then we can see, and everybody else can see what.
And we'll always stay in touch anyway, no matter what, whether we do or we don't.
Always.
So thank you very much, guys, for that. I've enjoyed it. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a mishmash, but I've enjoyed speaking to you guys.
We had a great time.
I like the mishmash. It's more fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So it's been nice to have you. Yeah, definitely.
So thank you for your time. Thank you very much.